This was Oldsmobile's last chance. Sure, there were other cars, other Oldsmobiles that came after the Aurora, but this was their last real chance to be taken seriously as a brand that was maybe worth paying attention to. Oldsmobile had one last chance. A ball from half court at the buzzer. And they bricked it. Because they made a car that was ahead of its time but forgot to make it good. In that way, maybe it truly was a peek into General Motors' future.
This is a Brooklyn bedding mattress, and this is some other guy's. Check it out. Nice? Ah, Brooklyn bedding. Nice. Other guys? Oh, that doesn't feel too good. Every time we have friends come over and stay at the house, and I come back in the guest bedroom and see which bed has all the covers off, it's always the Brooklyn bedding one. Oh, yeah. Oh, the difficult thing about doing these ad raids is not just falling asleep on this mattress. So what I love most about my Brooklyn bedding mattress is that this is one of the cooling mattresses. Check it out. These are one of the kinds, I get pretty hot when I sleep. And this thing keeps you cool. I've had it for about 6 months. When I do sleep here in the guest bedroom, because sometimes I like using this mattress, I don't wake up in the middle of the night with my stinky feet. Shut up. Because sometimes I go through very, very violent heating and cooling cycles. I love the Brooklyn bedding mattress, and I think you will too. And plus, we have a special code for you. Let's get that QR code and the information right here. Check out brooklynbedding.com. You can check out the links below and get 30% off your new mattress with my code. It's regular car reviews, and it works on whichever Brooklyn bedding site you're on. Brooklyn Bedding has been in the mattress industry for over 25 years, known for top-of-the-line comfort and quality, but without the luxury price tag. They truly deliver the best sleep ever with mattresses custom-made by the best craftsmen in the industry. Plus, if you're in the United States, they ship conveniently to you for free from their Arizona factory. They offer different firmness options, heights, and dimensions, even non-traditional sizes, to fit right into your lifestyle. They really do have something for everyone. With your Brooklyn bedding mattress, you get a 120-night sleep trial along with a limited lifetime warranty.
Kid in 1951 to draw what cars would look like in the future, this would probably have been close. Smooth and curvy, like someone captured a raindrop in midair, turned it sideways, and cast it in steel and aluminum. In 1997, this was probably still ahead of its time, because it preceded the edgeless corporate future of cars assembled by focus groups. They all have the same jelly bean love handles and the same lack of ambition as a person who's been hot all their life. But the Aurora arguably had more going for it. In 1997, this had some pretty good safety tech. Not just stuff like daytime running lights, but dual front airbags and traction control, and anti-lock four-wheel disc brakes. In crash testing, it actually broke General Motors' testing machine, and they had to use a different machine for large truck frames just to crumple its unibody structure. It had this unique Starfleet wraparound dash and a compass on the rear view mirror. You had power seats and remote keyless entry. You could get optional seat heating. It had an optional 12-disc CD changer, an optional power sunroof and chrome wheels. You had options, and you only had to pay for them once, because the future was brimming with potential. It wasn't a dystopia yet. The Aurora had the same blank canvas as the first moment after a breakup, when you start to feel like maybe things are going to be okay after all. This car was the future that boomers understood in the late 1990s. There's no new technology here. By that I mean no touchscreens, no swiping, tapping, or scrolling. Every human interface in the Aurora is activated by a well-fed, chubby, accusatory pointer finger, spoiled and rude. Jab at those buttons like you're scolding a child who has no choice to listen to your harangues because your inheritance is their only salvation. Twist those HVAC controls like you're putting your hands on a child's face without their consent. Look with pride at the digital compass because you know how to read a map that will take you to the nearest diner where you will tell the 20-year-old female server that she would be a lot prettier if she smiled more. 1997 Oldsmobile Aurora, the official car of loners who dream of being somebody's one who got away. The Oldsmobile Aurora is an interesting case study in rebrands that come too late to matter. Because the Aurora could redefine Oldsmobile, but it couldn't save it. In the 80s, the perception was that Oldsmobile was a brand for middle-class style and everyman luxury, but filtered through Gulf Coast 401ks. An automaker for 3 p.m. bedtimes and pre-chewed deli cuts. Oldsmobile drew elderly folks like a bingo game where the grand prize is a 6-minute call with the grandkids. They weren't even as dignified as Mercedes, which appealed to a similar demographic but a more lively version. These were people who were still active enough to get down, but not young enough to do it without Gold Bond medicated powder clouding up the room on each clap. And the idea was that Aurora would give Oldsmobile a new identity in the 1990s, because they spent the better part of a decade getting spanked barehanded by the competition. They went from selling over 1 million cars in 1985 to less than half that number by 1993. And how could they do anything but fail when they were spending the 80s making cars for pensioners and people who smoke Salems? They had to pivot in the 90s, and pivot hard. And they ended up creating a car that was both ahead of its time, like an underground musician, but destined to age poorly, like a successful musician. It could go no farther than this. Nostalgia be damned, the Oldsmobile Aurora is a time capsule you bury with yourself. This wasn't going to bring the fight directly to Lexus, BMW, and Mercedes, although GM definitely tried, in their GM kind of way. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what, this sleek new design and a Northstar V8, yeah, we're gonna bring the younger buyers, and diversify Oldsmobile, right? Right, you know what I'm talking about. It's gonna bring, the luxury clientele and the import crowd. We're gonna recontextualize Oldsmobile. And we're going to do it all by getting rid of all the Oldsmobile branding. Check this out. We don't even need the U.S. Treasury. We're going to sell so many of these things, we're going to print our own money. Now. Woo! You can still find the Oldsmobile branding on some spots in certain Auroras, like the rear light bar, which Matt replaced in a junkyard on the way here. But generally speaking, Oldsmobile wanted you to overlook the fact that this was an Oldsmobile. And the best way to do that was to prevent you ever noticed it in the first place. But the strategy didn't seem to work. The Aurora hit the market for model year 1995 with a first-year production total of 45,677 units. But the numbers would be cut in half for 1996 and 1997 because they only drew about 25,579 units, while the number would jump to 53,640 by the debut of the second generation model in 2001, it would fall to just under 11,000 units the following year, with even fewer in its final production year. So how is the Oldsmobile Aurora in today, 2025? How is it in today's context? Is its failure justified? Well, the 1997 Oldsmobile Aurora comes with the well-known 4-liter Northstar V8, making 250 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, matched to the same GM 4T80E transmission that was shared by other front-wheel drive Northstar cars. This is already a sister car to the Buick Riviera, which also ran on the Cadillac G platform. But I'm not sure a Riviera is this thirsty. While Matt can get up to 25 miles per gallon on the highway, he can run as low as 13 miles per gallon in the city, which could be worse, except this Northstar V8 wants premium gas because it's high compression. From what we found, the compression ratio is 10.3 to 1. And this is where it gets weird. And it's equipped with with what GM calls the Autobahn package, which changes the final drive ratio to from 3.48 to 3.71. All right, it's got more aggressive gearing, but the top speed they also claimed got higher from 112 miles an hour to 135. So please correct me in the comments what's going on here. I mean, typically, if you're going to make more aggressive gearing, you're going to ruin your top speed because you moved all your right. I think what's going on here is that the top speed of this car was always 135, but when it had the old gearing, it was governed to 112. So when they made this package, they just took the governor off and just said, see, you're going to pay more, hid the top speed behind a paywall. That's what I think's going on here. Matt did the head stud fix. The aftermarket stud bolt kit, here it is, and let him explain.
So you already did the stud kit for this. Or rather, is it head studs or head bolts?
It's head studs that you put in.
Okay.
Stock, it's I think it's M10 by 1.5 head bolts, and me and my uncle did this after it blew its head gasket at about 62,000 miles.
You didn't pay a shot for this. You did this yourself.
Yeah, me and my uncle. We pulled the engine out the top, which is a big task for this car. There's supposed to be a drop from the bottom along with the subframe.
Really?
And there was about this much clearance between the ABS module pulling it out the top.
You were able to get the engine out of the top?
Yeah.
Did you have to take the hood off completely?
No.
You got this out with the hood still attached?
I took the struts off, and then I made like a custom wood stand that bolted into like the radiator shroud cover.
What?
And this is the stud kit. This is a stock head bolt.
Okay.
And
to a Northstar.
First generation Northstar stock head bolt. And then this is the new diameter of the stud.
Ooh, so
that replaces that.
So this is now holding your cylinder head on.
Like this is the alignment dowel for this, basically this X plate. It has a drill hole and then a tap hole. You bolt it to the block, put one of these in, another one over here, and then there's the stock threads too. So for each hole, just corresponding to that, you drill it out, flip it around, tap it.
So your tap just glides down in here.
Yeah, after you drill it.
Yeah.
And that's basically how it went. It's a long, tedious process, but it worked. And
are you tapping it by hand?
No.
Going in?
Yeah, by hand, like with a hand tap.
Yeah.
And
is it just when you tapped it? Because I could never imagine myself tapping the block.
I was nervous too. My uncle did a lot.
When I tap stuff, I know it's just turn a little bit, back it out. Turn a little bit, back it out. Is that how you did it?
Basically, along with the oil, the tap just goes.
That's the
here.
tap.
Yeah.
Authentic GM Northstar shavings on it.
Yeah. This is a kit from Northstar Performance. It's a company out of Canada, owned and operated by Jake Weeb. He's like the end-all be-all for Northstars. He makes tunes for these things. He does a whole bunch of crazy stuff for them, and big shout out to him.
So if I were tapping this just glides down through this?
Might be a little rough because there's shavings on it.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
You know, honestly, spinning this in, I feel a little bit of what your nervousness felt like.
Yeah.
Like everything's fine now. It's just in the guide. And then the second it hits the bottom, that face you just made. It's going in.
Hopefully it does it good.
Yeah. Is my car about to become, scrap prices?
Yeah.
And there it would be. There it would start cutting right there.
There's a little play in it, but it's within tolerance. And it's used too, so.
When you do one single engine with this kit, is this tap now trash?
No. Supposedly you can reuse this for multiple engines, this X plate and everything. I'd use this and the drill bit and the bolts, whatever. I would replace this just because this gets a little bit of play in it, the drill bit portion, just over the amount you drill it. Like I have the drill bit here, I just pull it out, and you can see it has.
Oh, okay.
It just gets some play in it over time.
So the drill bit, this is now junk.
No, the drill bit's fine.
Oh, the drill bit's junk?
It's
Oh,
this that wears out somewhat.
Ah.
So I'd personally replace the X plate, but
So you were drilling down through this with just, a hand drill?
this was with a power drill.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
just my little Cobalt power drill.
Hell
did it.
yeah. Straight from Lowe's.
Yep. That thing cost me, I think, $99 like 5 years ago, and it's still
Oh, yeah.
still going. Oh, here's something else you might be interested in. Aurora's had a lot of merch with them. And somebody gave me this a while back.
I wonder if this thing would be like at the dealership.
Yeah.
That they would have
think
just
so.
got a whole pallet of these, but they'd hide them. Just say, hey, if you work with us on the deal, we'll throw in for an exclusive, and then pull out this, which cost, maybe $1.80 to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just throw it in. You get your own custom thing for all the picnics you're going to have with you and your goodly wife.
Matt also replaced the air shocks because this was somehow even worse before. I asked if he just wanted to replace the rear shocks to like Monroe conventional shocks, and he said, no, I want to keep it how it is. So he repaired the rear air ride suspension. He also had to replace the turn signal switch 4 times in his ownership. And the problem with that, as Matt explained, is that that's a specific Aurora part. They just didn't pull from the GM parts bin. Even the hubcaps were a problem for Matt because they have these little brittle plastic tabs that break off. So you're constantly losing hubcaps to the point where Matt even keeps extras in the trunk. Oldsmobile Aurora. Too pretentious for Buick drivers and not enough of an ego contortionist for Cadillac drivers. In 1997, the base model with options was around $38,000. Adjusted for inflation to 2025, this is a $72,000 car. $72,000 for this? Which is why it's so baffling that this was supposedly intended for your younger demographic, because unless younger means 47, I'm not sure who this was supposed to appeal to. The Aurora was probably going to repel older buyers who wanted to just stick with their Cutlass Sierras and Olds 88s. And the younger buyers, well, they would just buy a used Honda from like 91. The Aurora was a car that wanted to represent a more vibrant spirit, but all it did was let you know that whoever was driving away had a gateway computer sitting in their home office or the computer room. And what's frustrating is that the Northstar could have been a good engine with more time and attention, but it never got to be that. When fixed, it's a sewing machine engine with a choppy, buzzy sound that you don't get with the LS, well, most LSs. But instead of proclaiming a new era for Oldsmobile, it cemented their place at the forefront of a dying ecosystem. Boomers were leaving to drive Lexuses, Mercedes, Acuras, and even Infinities. And young people were bailing on sedans and getting into Jeeps or hot hatches. Or whatever hand-me-downs were already in the family. People were not shelling out BMW prices for an Oldsmobile in the late 90s. And I don't care how good the economy was. Looking back, the Aurora had nearly everything going for it, except for that doomed Northstar engine and the ball and chain name. Maybe if this was called a Saturn, it would have been more successful. But GM was determined to keep Grandpa alive for just one more Christmas. But what is endearing is that the owner, Matt, lusted after the Aurora. These are classic cars now. He likes them. And I love first-gen Neons and USDM Ford Falcons. Unloved cars that could have been. They had their moment in the sun. They were once new and hopeful. And then weather, neglect, and changing consumer sentiment turned them into scrap. But here and there, some classics survive, and owners love them, spending irresponsible money keeping them running. I'm talking about Jeep Wrangler repair money, the amount of money that Finance Bird would squawk at. The Aurora could have been the answer Oldsmobile was looking for, but it would have required acting sooner than the 90s, and building a better car than they did. We've driven worse than the Aurora, but what makes it so disappointing is the wasted potential. A Hail Mary pass that no one caught. This car was meant to save a dying luxury brand, but ended up being one of the final nails in its coffin.
So these are stock head bolts, head bolts are not studs. And this has real threads that had come off as you took it out. There was this moment when I was doing stuff with the Appalachian Trail, and I met some local, not a hiker, and she was there on the pull-off by one of the trailheads, and she had the Cadillac Northstar. She, you know, I describe her as a slug-ass broodmare with, you know, tits freaking falling out of her, you know, halter top. There's no bra underneath. She's got this little yapper dog that she's holding here, and then she says to me, "You look like a guy who knows about cars." Actually, probably because I pulled up, I had the Falcon at the time. Yeah, so why wouldn't I? She says, "My needle just went like this," and didn't say which needle, but I asked which needle. She says, "The hot one." I'm like, "Yep." I knew exactly what that was. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that she was, you know, up Schitt's Creek. Yeah. But I just said, well, you might have, you know, a heating, cooling issue. You know, there's a garage. I pointed to 2 garages. We're at the top of the hill. Like, you could roll it in neutral down either end of this hill and hit a garage. So, you know, best of luck. I'm going to call my son. He knows what to... No, okay. Yep. Whatever you say. Whatever you say.
Unless your son is AAA, you're fucked.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Okay. Even though the Aurora was a futuristic design from the outside, inside this car, they knew who their market was. And everything in here is to not confuse boomers. You see how everything in here, with the exception of your HVAC control, is words. I'm going to take the camera for a second. The button for your trunk says trunk. The button for your fuel door says fuel door. And it's within line of sight. Well, sort of. It's off to the side. But over here, interior lights says interior lights. Twilight Sentinel, that's the... I hate this. This is GM making your auto dimming your headlights. The idea is you would run with your high beams. It would turn its high beams on and off automatically. But it... Ooh, what did you just discover?
Matt had showed me this, and I was trying to figure out how to replicate it because I thought he just pressed in, but no, it's this button.
Oh, an unmarked button.
Yeah.
So it's your car's computer.
Beep, boop, beep, boop,
Yeah.
beep, beep, beep.
Do you remember those calculators that did this for no reason? They like flipped up, or they had covers on them.
I remember only the rich kids had them.
Yeah, this was before you all had to have the Texas Instruments for graphing for class. But yeah, economy, fuel, range, speed. There's no reason for it to do that, but it does do that. I didn't even notice that. It is amazing. 90s theft lock in big letters because people stole head units back in the day. This is a double din with CD and tape deck with Dolby digital noise reduction that very few people know how to use. You have to have the correct kind of tape cassette for that.
Chunky.
It has an option to turn traction control off right here, which is wild for a car meant for old people. Or old people, this is like the last time boomers understood technology was this car. Because technology was buttons, and it reads, and stuff said what it said. Also, there's no right angles anywhere in here. There is no angles, period. Well, the exception of that. That's an angle. And that's an angle right here. And even the head unit. This is so Frutiger Aero. The head unit cover itself has to have not beveled edges, but curved edges. Oh, I am boiling in here.
Yeah, we've only been in
here for like 5 minutes. This is
not
so
even.
hot.
It's
Yeah.
been like 2.5.
It's 2.5, and I'm already sweating. How is this? The car inside just becomes Florida. I gotta get out of here.